Alright, so originally this video was going to be called Are There Too Many White Male Protagonists? But I now realize that that is way too specific of a topic, and also the answer is pretty fucking obvious, it's yes. But I will be answering that question in this video, but I will also be covering other things. I won't be covering anything in any specifically large detail, because otherwise this video would be like half an hour long, but I am going to be covering them just as quickly as possible. So I'm just going to get right down to it. Representation in media is just absolute shit. There's no real way to sugarcoat it. It's always been shit. It is starting to get slightly better, but it's still shit. And like, I'm gonna talk about specific things that annoy me about that in this video. This isn't really an indie opinions video, to be honest. This is more just of a rant, to be honest, about why this bothers me. So I want you to do something for me now. I want you to think of the last book you read, film you watched, or like short story that you read, and think about, or any other like form of medium, TV show, play, whatever, and think about how good actually was the representation. What race, what gender was the main character? Were they trans? Were there any trans characters even in it? If you answered to it was a white dude, then congratulations. It was not good in terms of representation. I mean, there can be exceptions with this, obviously. Like, it's not just going to be like, oh, your main character is white, therefore your book is bad and has shit representation. It's not like that. I mean, it certainly doesn't help, but it's not like a be all and end all of like, oh no, your character is white and a man, therefore it ain't diverse. But it really depends on how you develop the other characters. Like, something that really pisses me off is like, I don't know if I guess you'd call it tokenism, but I don't really know enough about tokenism to get really into it. But what really pisses me off is when like a director, the writer, whatever, decides that, oh yeah, they're going to be people of color in this film. They're going to have like one speaking line, but they're going to be in it. So, I mean, I can name like a few examples of this. Like, if you've seen the Netflix original movie Perfect Date, which is like what's his name, Santorio, who's in like all the Netflix teen romances, tries to like make a fucking dating site thing. Like, his best friend is a gay guy, a gay black guy. So got people, person of color, and LGBT. So that's good. But honestly, I do not remember what the fuck happens to that dude, or if he even had any development. I know he had a boyfriend by the end of the film, so that's kind of cool, but I don't remember anything the fuck else. I don't think they properly developed him. They just sort of threw him in there, just like, oh yeah, diversity points. Like it's a game of fucking Quidditch. But yeah, like another thing that just really pisses me off in terms of trying to make a something diverse is when they throw in like is like the whole trio dynamic basically that's in young adult fiction all the time. Like, you know what I mean, right? Like in Harry Potter, you've got it. You got Harry, Ron, Hermione. You got like two dudes and a female character, and it's like, and the female character has turned up with one of them. It's like, why are you doing this? Why is this the only thing you can think of in terms of getting like people to read your shit or watch your shit? It's like, oh yeah, we do need characters of the other gender that we're not marketing to as much towards as much, But yeah, there's just gonna be one of them in like the main trio, and also they're gonna just be romanticized by the other two, and they have to be attractive because otherwise, oh no, we can't have them not be attractive. I mean, 'cause in the book, Hermione's not described as attractive, but you know, in the movie, Emma Watson's attractive, and it's like, well, I mean, they all are, but it's just so annoying when they do that, and also where they do like in the Percy Jackson series where they go, the main character's a white guy, but the two side characters aren't a white guy because we got Annabeth, who's a girl, and we got Grover, who's a black guy. So we're great in terms of diversity. So why don't you just make like the whole thing about making your protagonist white? Like it seems to me to be more of a stunt to try and get as many people to watch it as possible because we've all been well, not acclimatized, we've all been conditioned to see like a young white male character who's attractive and be like, oh yeah, protagonist. I'm gonna watch that because they're clearly the protagonist. And they clearly look like an upstanding person because we've been fucking conditioned by society to see it like that. And it's just like, oh yeah, the side characters are cool. Diversity, yay. Anyway, that's enough of the ranting part. I feel like I kind of went off on a tangent just then. Jesus Christ, this video is already 6.5 minutes. But, like, in terms of my own writing, I don't really like making a cisgendered white male protagonist at the moment. Because I don't really. I mean, the reason I write specifically is to build up empathy for people of all varying different backgrounds. And writing from as a white guy myself, writing as a white protagonist, it's not a challenge for me because it's like I know how white protagonists feel. I don't have to get into a headspace of like understanding other people by doing this because this is what I am. And like when I first started writing, I did write a lot of characters that were like me, and that just built up my fucking narcissism, which is not a good thing. Probably didn't help that I was a teenager and was in the developmental process of, you know, self-esteem and all that crap. But like, yeah, right now I try to write as many non non-white, non-male characters as possible. Like the SO series is about two female characters written from the perspective of two female characters. One of the female characters is white, the other is Asian. So, and they are actually fully developed. I didn't just go like, oh, I'll just write an Asian character because you know why not? I didn't do that. I didn't go like, oh no, I can't make them two white people. That's not gonna sell. Like I did it for a very specific reason, albeit I didn't think of it straight away when I got the book idea, but when I was writing it, I got the idea. But then with Buried, I did write from a male the perspective of a male character, but he was just a fish out of water because he was the only male character in a sea of strong female characters, and he was not particularly strong. So I think in that dynamic it can work as far as you know diversity goes. And I just want to emphasize, I'm not saying that writing a male character is inherently a bad thing. I just think there are probably too many white male protagonists for in like the market. It's cluttered, and people don't really necessarily people have like read all they could read about a white guy's perspective. Like my girlfriend thinks this. She does not read books if the she doesn't even read books if the protagonist is male at the moment because she's like, well, I've already read everything from the perspective of a dude. I don't really want to do that anymore. So yeah, that was just a little disorganized rant. I'm very sorry if I offended anybody. I did not mean to, but at the same time, if you are reading this and think, oh yeah, cool, tokenism, that means like the Ghostbusters 2016 movie is trash automatically. I'm like, no, I'm not saying that. I've never seen that movie, but I don't know about its tokenism, but that's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that about any of the other movies that have been like revamped with female or male characters or like gender swapped. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing either, provided the characters are three-dimensional. Anyway, let's just go to the polling then. So I asked the writing community on Twitter, is there enough representation in media, specifically representation of people of color, women, and transgender people? And out of 15 people who voted, only 20% said yes. To the three of you who you are, please tell me who you are so I can tell you you're wrong. And no was 80%. So clearly people think that this is a big issue, or a hot button issue, a hot button issue to sound like an 80-year-old man. So yeah, that's just my thoughts, just other writers' thoughts on this. And like, it is getting better, obviously. Like, I'm not I'm not telling you that it's getting worse necessarily. I don't know if it's getting worse, but to my mind it is getting better. But if I'm wrong about that, someone please let me know. I just think it is because of the whole Black Lives Matter movement in June that is still happening. That's still very much happening now. Black lives do still matter. People who think it doesn't just because it's not June anymore. I'd be check yourself. But that I feel like that brought a lot of like awareness towards like books written by people of color, and I have read a few of them, and some of them were specifically on the topic of what it's like to. One of them was the autobiography. What it's called, I cannot remember, but I will tell you what it's called in the description, and I'll leave a link to it in the description as well because it was a very good book that just detailed what it was like to grow up black in America in the 70s, I think, and be treated like absolute shit by everyone, and how it feels to learn that one of your friends has been shot in a school shooting. No, not school shooting, in just a regular police shooting. And yeah, it was a really good book. It showed me a lot. I mean, I knew there was an issue, but Jesus Christ. Anyway, don't want to get too political, so thanks for watching. See you in the next video, and right on.